Hey there everybody, it's markcrilley. I'm back with another video. This is part 2 in a series of videos showing old artwork that I found that had been lost for many years, hidden away in a box down in my basement. I'm going to just jump in with this first one. This comes from, I believe, my early high school years, if not maybe late elementary schools. It isn't dated. But you can see me trying to do something a little conceptual here with showing the hand doing the drawing, sort of a drawing within a drawing idea. But what's interesting to me is that the technique, I really had not perfected my technique at this stage, and I hardly recognize this as one of my own drawings in terms of the style. But interestingly, it looks like I hid a skull. Do you see that? I was getting kind of spooky and creepy there, folks. I guess I hid a little skull inside the left-hand side of the drawing. But yeah, there you go. That's probably the earliest out of all the things I'm going to show you today. Now this one is from my high school years. It's dated 1982. And very typical of the kind of drawings I was doing back then. I would sort of combine different images into a single picture. And this is, I think, meant to be a self-portrait with the spooky no irises in the eye technique. And look at that hairstyle, man. Oh yeah, I was pretty cool. But you see the technique that I was using back then. I would do a lot of these diagonal lines, most often from the lower left to the upper right, and I would sort of use that technique for creating hatching. And a lot of times this is all very sort of spontaneous, and again, with the skulls. What's with you, Crilly? Fascinated by death, I suppose. But maybe I just thought it looked cool. And yeah, there you go. I can't explain it. Couldn't explain it then, can't explain it now. Now this one is much more classically based. I think I was taking a class at the Detroit Institute of Arts. 1981, it says, Saint Sebastian. This is a study of a painting by, I've got it written here, Paul Della Roche. Paul Della Roche. I can't claim that I know that much about the artist, but I think this is a pretty good example of my skills at that time in terms of just doing a study, reproducing what I saw there in the painting, and getting some good cross-hatching going. This was probably the height of my abilities. Round about my first or second year of high school. This is another kind of conceptual one. To be honest, I barely remember making this, and I don't really know what the idea was, but you're looking through a window. Looks like a modern-day window to some degree, and then beyond it is this medieval castle that has been destroyed in battle. And again, I can't remember what my thinking was. Maybe I saw it in a dream, and then I decided to put it into a drawing. Who knows? But again, you can see that that technique that I was talking about earlier, these sort of diagonal lines all coming together to create a smoky effect. I was in the high school drama club called the Harlequins. Such a cool sounding name. And they would have me do the illustrations for the posters. This one, I wonder if I looked at like a 19th century photo or something like that. It looks so sort of serious and a little bit bland, to be honest. I'm surprised that I settled on this as the final image. And I gotta say, the anatomy and proportions on this one, ooh, not so great. Not so great. I wonder if I was in a rush when I did this one. It's certainly not one that I'm particularly proud of, but I wanted you to see the sort of warts and all version of Crilly's high school work. And continuing with the poster theme, this was for one of the school dances, the new music dance. The only dance that matters was the slogan. Wonder if I came up with that one. The thing that makes me laugh is this line down here. Admission. $2.50. $2 if you are dressed for the occasion. What does that even mean? Dressed for the new music dance. I think what's going on here, though, is that there was no possibility of gray tone or shading. It had to be very bold and simple in terms of blacks and whites, or black and yellow, as it ended up being printed on yellow paper. So that was my attempt at a sort of a bold graphic design. Probably hemmed in a bit by the limitations of the printing technology that we had available to us. So now we move on to my college years, and this was one of my first paid illustration jobs, was to create these little, I think they call them tents. You know, you can put it on the table to, you know, give advertising or whatever to whoever is sitting at the table. This was for the food service, and so they had chili and different 2-for-1 ice cream sundaes and different things. I would try to sneak in my own little jokes or cartoons into each job, and this guy is like saying, "It's better than calculus." The chocolate chip cookie. Hey, 35 cents, that's not bad. I wish I could get an ice cream cookie for 35 cents today. Jeepers, what a deal. The Quad Stop is the place to be. So there you go, Mark Crilley in his first paid job as an illustrator. I was on my way, but hopefully going to do better work in the years ahead. So here's a pencil drawing study that I did in college, and I believe that this is actually, this paper is like a shopping bag, like a paper grocery store shopping bag, and I was just sort of resorting to anything to get that brown paper color so that I could do these highlights. I believe this is a study of a painting by Velázquez. Sorry I didn't take a moment to try to hunt it down and credit it properly. But yeah, I think I was starting to move ahead in terms of my drawing technique. Still a fair amount of that left to right diagonal shading that I was doing back in high school. You know, even today I occasionally use that technique. But yeah, pretty representative of the kind of work that I was doing at that time, trying to learn from the masters and improve my own abilities. Now, one of the things that I did in my college years was to be the editor of the college newspaper, and I still hope to find copies of those old papers. They're probably buried somewhere in the basement. Haven't found them yet, though. In the meantime, this is one such illustration, the kind of almost caricature, political cartooning kind of style that I was attempting to do for the paper. This was in the very early days of computers, and I remember going to the one computer where they could print out this lettering, and I would cut and paste it to make the paper look more authentic, like a real published, you know, newspaper downtown or something like that. But yeah, I'm going to keep looking. Hopefully I'll be able to find in a separate video show my days doing illustrations for the college newspaper. This is another one from the college years, and I see that it's matted, which makes me think that it was maybe put on display in a student show, you know, where they gathered the work of different students. Not an amazing piece of work, but it is sort of representative of the kind of stuff that I was doing back then, where I would kind of draw part of the background, but not the entire background, sort of letting the white of the page show through a lot. Yeah, I guess I liked it enough to have it matted, if not framed, but certainly not the most exciting thing I did back when I was in college. Now, Kalamazoo College used to have these big calendars where they would get the entire spring quarter or summer or autumn onto a single piece of paper, and so they had me design this one. Looks like I was trying to do Art Nouveau. Definitely had a lot of fun with the lettering here. But one thing that I remember is that in these days, in order to get that yellow color, I had to do a separate sheet that had just the yellow on it, except it was done in black, right? You would just, in those days, you would do a whole separate thing in black, and then the printer would know to turn it into yellow. But you can see that the registration or whatever, I made the original shape a little bit too big in just that one area. Such were the hazards of doing the whole thing on a separate sheet of paper. But I was kind of pleased with how the lettering turned out, and you can tell I was very into design at that stage. Still am, but it's been a long time since I attempted something so Art Nouveau-ish as this. And now we get to the last piece, which comes from my post-college years when I was teaching English in Taiwan. This was a Christmas card that I designed for the YMCA where I was teaching English. And I always felt that this was kind of a turning point for me in terms of the quality of the illustration and the design work I felt like I was getting a little closer to a professional look with this one. And all of this lettering, the Chinese characters, was also me by hand. I'm sure I was looking at actual Chinese calligraphy and copying it. But yeah, there you go. I think probably the beginning of my professional years, even though I wasn't, directly paid for creating this. This is the one that looks most professional out of stuff that I was doing at that time. And that kind of brings us to the end of another one of these videos showing my lost artwork from the basement. I think I can do at least 1 or 2 more videos showing all these old illustrations. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and wind this one down. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back with another one real soon.